This is Oliver Knott here. You may have seen the last video that we talked about flipping and pitching a creature bait. Now what I want to show you guys on top of that is an adjustment I made because these fish also saw 224 other guys probably dropping a flipping weight on their heads. And when that happens, those fish can get really lockjaw, and a traditional bass fishing technique like this can start to wane in its success rate. So I want to show you an adjustment that I incorporated successfully throughout practice here. Okay, now I took that same bait and created a bubba shot system. This is a way for me to attack the same type of cover with almost the exact same components, but in a much more finesse and subtle presentation. And we talked about using a swim bait reel prior. This is exactly what we got here. This is the exact same reel that I utilize to throw big swim baits at big largemouth and smallmouth and muskies and other big fish. It's got the gearing and the drag capability for me to wrestle these fish out of dangerous cover. And on that, I've got it on a pretty heavy flipping and pitching setup. It is an actual 7.5 power rod, so it's got a lot of beef. And on it, I've actually got a brand new prototype DEFIANT 28-pound straight fluorocarbon. It's a heavy cover fluorocarbon. It's formulated with heavy abrasion resistance and low stretch to help keep you from breaking off. And the beauty of this rig is I can flip it just like a traditional Texas rig and have this weight hit the bottom quickly. This is a 1 ounce tungsten bullet weight from Russell Marine Products pegged to a split ring. Okay, so that bullet shape still allows me to come through that cover really effectively. And all I did was took a split ring, tied my leader off to a split ring. Instead of having that weight sliding up and down that leader system, I pegged it just like I normally would with a traditional Texas rig flipping setup. And then a little bit of a short leader, and you can actually have a leader as short as 1 inch. It's gonna have the effect of having this bait behave differently, especially in the current that we have here on this tidal fishery, and all these flappy little appendages and wings and I don't even know what little crab imitation baits can just sit there and flutter in their face, and it's suspended off the bottom. What you can't see is like there is this layer of this black looking algae moss. One of the locals called it mermaid's bush. I don't know what the inspiration for that was, but it's gunky and it fouls your presentation. So this was a perfect fix to get around that 1 to 2 inch layer of mermaid's bush, as the locals call it. It's not what I call it. All right, so the weight sits there, sinks into the nasty stuff, but your bait is actually just above it and highly visible. And this got me some bites, literally flipping behind guys that were fishing the same stretches of cypress trees and some docks. And having this on heavy gear really gave me the confidence that if I got the bite from a proper sized fish in this tidal water, these tidal water fish tend to be stronger fighters than stationary reservoirs and lakes. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't outgunned. All right, and we've got it nose hooked on a big wide gap weedless hook. Plenty of strength. I've got the drag buttoned down. I didn't open up one of these hooks one time, okay? And those little fiber weed guards really allow this whole presentation to climb up and over some of this heavy cover that you see behind me really effectively. Great way to get bit behind highly pressured fish that are used to seeing traditional flipping techniques. Do yourself a favor, guys, give it a try. Simple rig. Those of you guys that know how to rig a drop shot rig, do it the exact same way with heavier gear. This 28-pound fluorocarbon has been beautiful for me. Make sure you're using the right components. Your chain is only as strong as your weakest link, so just make sure you ain't got no weak links.
Some of the best yet. Some of the best yet. They bite like that, like that, like that. Big bass, double digits.
Pick up the fire right on top.
Low fall, blast off, trying to get some cast off. Doing this here for years, get my pass on. Dream mask on, putting in work. Snap back, got me focused, never settle on a shirt. I missed one and hit one, man, that's getting some. 2, 3, 4, 5 more, come on, that's ripping up. The way the bass smith sticking, the way my